AM 590 KXSP Omaha's ESPN Radio. Pull them belts tight, because it's time for the front stretch. Presented by Kosiski Auto Parts at 50th and I Street.
Welcome to another beautiful edition of The Front Stretch. Thank you so much for getting up and enjoying your Sunday. Hope you're enjoying the coffee and the beautiful sunrise, as we're going to talk a little bit of dirt track today. This is The Front Stretch presented by Kosiski Auto Parts, 51st and I Street, 731-4592. Maybe you're one of those poor souls that I saw on the side of the interstate a couple of weeks ago when the snow hit and your car's all beat and banged up, and instead of taking it to an auto body shop and paying all this money to get it fixed because they're going to rake you over the coals when you got to get a new fender or a new quarter panel, take it over to Kosiski Auto Parts. They'll get you the exact same metal. You take it to the body shop, get it sprayed down, get it painted, you're going to save yourself a little bit of money, and that's what it's all about in today's world, saving yourself a lot of pennies. Kosiski Auto Parts, 51st and I Street, 731-4592 is the number to call. In the studio today, good friend of the show, Roger Hayden. Thank you so much for sitting down with us, Roger.
No problem. Thanks for having me, guys.
I want to start off, as I have to start off a lot of it, I've routinely spelled your name wrong, but I've got it finally corrected. I figured it was Hayden.
That's how it sounds, but
that's what I
that
get
would be
for
incorrect.
You know what they say about assuming. Yeah, but anyways, so I apologize for that. But thanks so much for sitting down with us. Obviously, the man behind the scenes and the promoter for Eagle Raceway, just about 7 miles south on I-80 at the Greenwood exit, right?
Yep.
EagleRaceway.com is where you can go to. Roger, any kind of changes you guys have done in the off-season?
Not really a whole lot. We did a little improvement to the go-kart track, and other than that, on the big track, the changes for that is a little bit with the sprint car operation.
Do you mean the sprint cars have changed?
Not very much. You're not going to be able to tell a difference, but I'm not sure you can tell a difference in what you're driving from day to day anyway.
Wow,
it is
speechless.
It is a bit of a. We've established this as a bit of a prereq that when a guest comes on the show, they have to give Bud some crap, and obviously, Roger, you've had to spend way too much time with Bud, so you know it's very well deserved.
I take a lot of beating from him on Saturdays. Usually, it's from other competitors that he's racing against, having to, hey, you ought to set him to the back. That guy's a nuisance out there.
Yeah, I've seen him mess up a couple of guys and then get all mad because they roughed him up. But
no, not me.
We called him the Kurt Busch of Crawford County for a while. He was wrecking people and getting into fights and all sorts of stuff, all the shenanigans. Yeah. I mean, you were Kurt and Kyle all packaged it into one. But 2013 schedule, have you guys formally released it yet for Eagle?
Yep, it's on our website, and it's very similar to what we ran last year.
Okay, and when's your first night?
Good question. I don't know. It's way too early.
It's on a Saturday.
It's on a Saturday.
Actually, I don't think it is. I think it's a Friday and Saturday, third week of April.
I want to say the 20th and 21st of April sounds right.
Sounds about right.
Hey, Roger, I got a couple questions to ask while we're talking here. I know this year you're going to run 305 sprinters, and I think it's a good move for your part of being a track ownership. Was there a reason that you didn't try to pull the 360s back once a month and give the 305s a week off? Do you think that would have been a bad move for you politically to all the sprint car people? Is it something that you might still put in your plan, or is it something that you're, just in case the 305s, if you didn't have enough, if there's a few more crashes? I mean, and that's what a lot of people go for. So, it's a good move, but you know what I mean? Do you think that it would be a possibility to ever put them back in?
No, I don't think so, other than just maybe a couple times a year for specials. The handwriting's on the wall. It's pretty obvious that there's been a decline in any upper echelon type class, be it late models or sprints or whatever it might be. Heck, you can look at NASCAR, and they have a hard time getting full fields of cars, So.
Well, you even take the A-mods, which is an upper class. The A-mods can't keep up with what the B-mods are doing. They just don't pull the cars. I agree with you.
What does a 360 engine run a driver?
Cost?
Yeah. Just the engine.
It varies a lot, but I don't think you can be competitive right now without spending $20,000 or $30,000 probably.
And with
more.
those race savers, I think they were saying
they're 10-ish.
Yeah. So a considerable savings.
I believe Jack Dover, and when we had him on, was mentioning right around the 50,000 mark for the Roush Yates motor.
Didn't he say he blew 8 engines in one season, and he had to keep getting it rebuilt because it was one part that kept failing, but he just had to keep sending that engine to get it fixed?
He spent more on his engines than I'll make in my lifetime.
That's the first time you've actually been right on that statement. That is absolutely right. I mean, wow, those are expensive. So, I remember when that story broke that you guys were switching to the 305s and there was this big uproar, and now all of a sudden we're starting to hear a lot of people going, Well, maybe we will buy the 305. I think Roger's onto something.
Well, I think it'll take a few years. This thing's not going to just jump out of the gate and be a big deal, but you either got to be a leader or a follower, and I guess I'm sticking my neck on the chopping block here on this thing, and we're going to give it a shot and see if we can create something out of it, because I don't see any other choice at this point.
I think sticking your neck on the chopping block's really been a move that a bold move that he's made this year, watching, what all the people are saying. And I don't think it's going to be as bad on the chopping block as what it's going to be when he gets to the first race and sees how many cars he has.
Looking at your schedule at EagleRaceway.com, looks like Friday, April 19th and Saturday, April 20th is the Icebreaker Challenge. Talk a little bit about that.
Basically what we do at the beginning of the year is we race every class that we have and spread them out on different nights, and it's more of a modified special than anything. Mm-hmm. It will actually have the sprint cars on both nights, the new Race Saver Sprints, so that'll kind of be the first display of them. But we try to just, basically it's an increased purse for the drivers and kind of benefit for them.
And then right after that, looks like your formal season opener is going to be on April 27th. Anything special you guys are planning for that? Or
We're not a special type of track. Every night's special at our place, but we really, really babysit our weekly show and try to make sure that it's successful.
Yeah. Any other news you got in the off season? Kind of changes, any rule changes, packages, stuff like that for your cars?
Not really. That's the good thing about being an IMCA track is I don't make the rules. I just got to live and die by them.
Kind of stick to them.
Yep. But
what's that big IMCA change? They changed up some spring rules, am I hearing right?
Yeah, the rear springs were no longer allowed, the 15 and 16-inch rear springs on the sport mods. It's 13-inch maximum spring height. And then I believe on all the IMCA cars this year, regardless of class, where your seatbelts mount to the roll cage, it cannot be on the tail section anymore, regardless of class. It's got to be to the main cage itself, the main halo, for safety reasons. And
working on it right now, I think we're going to get an IMCA official in here before the season starts, probably sometime, I think we talked late February, early March.
Something like that.
To talk about some of the rule changes so the dirt drivers out there are in the up and up. So
now, I will say one thing. I think it's kind of cool what Joe's done here. And it's really interesting to see. I've raced both tracks, and I like both tracks. But Joe had came out and said, for all you sport mod drivers, why change all that stuff? I'm not going to cost you money. Just come to I-80 and run what you got now, and you'll be fine. And I think that's a positive move on Joe's part. Now, Roger, to his defense, he doesn't make the rules. Like Roger said, he lives and dies by him. He's at the mercy of IMCA, and that's where, with the NASCAR track, that the promoters can kind of do their own thing. And so it's kind of interesting to see what the car count's going to do out at I-80.
And I honestly love the way you two run your tracks. You guys don't try to copy each other at all. I mean, you're very close tracks, so you run one thing, and Roger, you run one thing, and Joe, you run the other thing, and you're kind of splitting the field. If you don't want to be an IMCA driver, you can go to I-80. If you're an IMCA driver, you can go to Eagle Raceway. So you guys both do a tremendous job with your tracks. I know I keep hitting on the same subject and you keep shooting me down and saying no, but any ticket specials you guys are doing, season passes, season opener specials, that kind of stuff?
You want me to give all the secrets out in front of all the competition here?
Joe, that's not a notepad. He's taking notes down. Yeah, he's doodling.
That's a Land O'Lakes butter tub over there.
He's one of these days, he's going to get tired of the Land O'Lakes jokes.
We've got all kinds of special stuff that we're doing. I mean, every week we do different things. This year for our start of the races, usually we do fireworks. A lot of tracks are starting to do that now, and we're not going to do that this year. We got a totally separate deal that we're going to do, and it's going to be way above the fireworks gig.
Are you guys going to invest in a lake because of all the water you had to dump on the track last year? Are you just going to pray for a little bit more rain this year?
I need to get a big backhoe and dig my pond out a little deeper.
Yeah, I tell you, I don't know how many times. You pretty much just took laps around there like Jack Dover did in that water truck. You kept making laps, and he'd make about 10 laps. You'd come back out and have to water the track down. So.
Yep, it was getting ridiculous. Hopefully we get some moisture this year.
Hopefully. We only keep our fingers crossed. EagleRaceway.com is where you can get all the information. The Icebreaker Challenge is when the season kind of starts to kick off. It's a little bit of an exhibition, if I'm saying that right.
That's right.
The Sprint Cup practices, the IMCA Sprint practices, is that open to the public, or is that just drivers?
It's open to the public to watch, but it'll be sprint cars only practicing. Okay.
And then the season opener completely on April 27th. Saturday night weekly racing. EagleRaceway.com is where you can go for all the ticket information, driver information, track postings, driver results.
We got Roger here, and something he's tried for about 3 years is getting an SLMR series show down there. And it seems like it either rains out, there's been a problem. We haven't been able to get one of those races to Rogers Track, and this year we've got one scheduled, and I believe it's is that your last night of the year or real close to it, Roger?
Yeah, it is the last night of the season.
That's the Nebraska Cup. Is that one of your bigger events?
Yep, that'll be a 360 sprint car race. It'll actually be our second one of the season. We do the Eagle Nationals in the middle of the year in June, and then this deal, the Nebraska Cup at the end of the year will be a sprint car race with the 360s and SLMR late models, and I think we put the two of them together. Ought to be a heck of a show.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a heck of a weekend for you guys. Friday, August 30th, you're going to have your open house practice for the pre-nationals party, and then on Saturday the 31st, IMCA Race Saver Engines Nationals, and then the Sunday, September 1st, is that your race, or is that the next weekend, September 8th, is the Nebraska Cup?
September 8th
okay,
at
so
Rogers Track on
that's
Sunday
the SLMR
night.
series.
Yep.
Can you go into detail a little bit about the I've told quite a few people about this Nationals, this Sprint Nationals, Race Saver Nationals. What is that exactly?
Basically, we made an agreement with IMCA. Also, that's part of the deal that when we started going with this sprint car deal with the Race Saver Sprints, I've been looking for what I'd call a signature show for the track, and we're going to try to build this into what we'll call our signature show. We right now, I just got a call today from a guy in New York who's trying to figure out how to load up 6 sprint cars and bring them to the track for that race. So I don't know. I mean, it's yet to be seen, but I think it could be a race where there might be maybe up to 100 sprint cars. That might be too many. I might not want to deal with that many.
You may have something on your hands there you're not ready to deal with.
No, it could be interesting, but if this thing works out like the IMCA Super Nationals first year they ran them, I called on the way here because I figured somebody might ask me that question, and they had 58 mods at the first IMCA Mod Super Nationals.
Wow, awesome. Anything else you want to bring up? I know the rumor mill in the dirt world is just it's rampant as ever. So I mean, I don't subscribe to it, but is there any rumors you'd like to dispel while you're up in front of the microphone? And we've got the man himself.
Joe's bought about 4 different racetracks. Has he? Yeah, I mean, how many more racetracks have you bought?
I bought them all with Rogers' money, so let's just say we're partners on all that money we bought over winter.
You give it 2 weeks, Steve's over here with a smirk on his face. He's going to be owning a racetrack. Andrew, you're going to own a racetrack, and God forbid if I ever own a racetrack.
I have never seen more people flip you the bird so quickly. Roger, thank you so much for coming in with us tonight. Again, EagleRaceway.com is where you can go. Your season formally kicks off on April 27th, Saturday night. Thanks for coming in and talking with us, and as we always wish you, best of luck for the 2013 season.
Thank you, guys. See you later.
Have a good one. That was Roger Hayden, promoter, owner, and the man behind the scenes. We'll be right back on the front stretch. Presented by Kosiski Auto Parts, 51st and I Street in Omaha. It's AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
The Silver Dollar Nationals are returning to I-80 Speedway on July 18th, 19th, and 20th. Don't miss the nation's top USMTS, MLRA, and Lucas Oil dirt late model racers as they compete at Nebraska's fastest track. Come watch the nation's best dirt track racers compete for a $27,000 to win payout. Ticket prices and packages at 402-342-3453. The 3rd annual Silver Dollar Nationals at I-80 Speedway, July 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Kosiski Auto Parts is the Metro's premier auto parts store. Located at 50th and I Street, Kosiski Auto Parts will help you find the replacement part you need to get back on the road. Give one of their experienced salespeople a call today at 731-4592. Let Kosiski Auto Parts and Team PRP find your quality used replacement part. Kosiski Auto Parts offers warranties on all parts that leave their store, so you have peace of mind. Open Monday to Friday, 8 to 5:30, or 24 hours a day at Kosiski.com.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, powered by Kosiski Auto Parts. Quality used parts at an affordable price. Now, back to the Front Stretch.
Welcome back to the Front Stretch, presented by Kosiski Auto Parts, 51st and I Street in Omaha. Continuing our series as we go around to talk to some of the local promoters of the tracks that are releasing their schedule and getting ready for 2013. And on the phone with us, promoter of Butler County Speedway, Derek Anderson. Derek, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Derek, first off, how did you get wrangled into being the promoter for Butler County?
Well, I kind of went to, I'm friends with Brent Pick that purchased the track. We went to the auction, and he blames it on me that he got into racing with this, bought a sprint car, and most people just don't go out and spend a bunch of money and buy a 410 Outlaw sprint car and go racing, but he decided to do that. And we went down to that auction, and next thing you know, he bought the track, and I'm sitting there next to him, and that's basically how it got going. And he's like, what are we going to do now? And I said, well, I'll help you out.
Well, did he have any experience racing, or did he seriously just say, what the hell, let's just go buy a 410 Outlaw sprint car?
No experience at all.
Now, am I getting...
He's a farmer, but he's very competitive. He went down and played some football at the University of Nebraska, and he's just a competitive person. He's like, hey, all the other farmers around the area and in Nebraska and Iowa, they tend to go tractor pulling, and he didn't like that avenue, so we're going sprint car racing.
Am I getting the story right? You guys went to go buy a sprint car, and you actually ended up buying a track?
No, he already had the sprint car, and he's just going down there to see what it's going to be like, and next thing you know, I think he raised his hand accidentally and bought the track.
How do you raise your hand by accident?
He sneezed and bought a track.
He was probably telling Wayne Q, whoa, stop it.
Well, let's talk about Butler County. What have you guys done in the off-season? Any kind of work you've done to the track and maybe to the rule packages and stuff like that?
We basically went down there and I tried to do a practice night to see what it's all going to be about, and we're going to try to do some updates with the hospitality suites for that building itself with some things, and move a few things around. The track itself is really racy. Most racers enjoy it and don't want to change that too much. Got to do some guardrail fixing, and right now we're getting cleaned. Just did a lot of cleaning, cleaning odd and end things around the track, and leveled some dirt out, and we're going to move some things around.
Guys, have any of the three dirt track drivers raced there?
I've raced Butler County.
Yes.
Joe, have you?
Yes.
It is.
Really? I didn't know you raced out there.
Bud, there isn't too many places.
Well, no, I didn't realize Butler County had been around that long.
Bud.
What?
I didn't say I raced it in my first year of racing. I said I raced it. That could have been 5 years ago.
What, was it 5 years ago?
No, it was about 10 or 15.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I didn't know Butler County was that old, is what I'm saying.
Oh, he just keeps...
But you know how old I am, right?
45.
Okay. Yeah, I wish I was 45 again. I'd still be racing with you,
He's making up for the Lando Lakes comments.
Yeah.
I just found out that the track used to be called Thunder Lake.
Yep. That's when I raced out there. Is when it was Thunder Lake. I raced out there and raced the Bob Stava 53 modified. Yes, sir.
Any thoughts of bringing back the old name, or are you going to stick with the Butler County?
We're going to stick with the Butler County Speedway for now. Nothing original or anything exciting, but that's kind of what we're sticking out, and that's what our website will be, ButlerCountySpeedway.com. Once we get that finalized, we're hoping to have that up and going at the end of January.
Yeah, it looks like you guys have a Facebook page going. Is that where you're communicating with the fans right now as far as schedules and that?
Yep, we just kind of put a thing on there with the schedule, with the weekend schedule for once a month deal. Just tonight, I think, we just got on there. So.
But what are you guys planning on running in 2013? What series are you guys gonna run around the track?
Well, the Saturday night's going to be mostly a sprint car 360 series with the Nebraska sprint cars, kind of a group of guys that are just kind of getting going. There's a lot of people excited about their new little sanction deal that they got going with. And then we're going to probably have some odd lights and door cars similar in Gatra, and then we're going to do the stock car series.
And then
stock car, but not.
Are you gonna? Is your weekly schedule going to be on Saturdays or Sundays?
Well, Saturday night is going to be kind of a sprint car. It'll be the main thing is the 360s. Sprint cars on the Saturday night. Sunday night we'll have the A-Mod, B-Mod, hobby stocks, and compacts. The first Sunday, the April 28th, we'll have the SLMR show with it to help kick the year off, and we're really excited about that.
In 2013, you were talking about running a Saturday-Sunday show one time a month for a total of 8 shows. And looking, way down the road, come 2014, have you looked at maybe if you're going to go NASCAR or IMCA?
We we don't know yet. There's, with the Sunday night show, I think it would work either way. If you could run Friday, Saturday, Sunday with a NASCAR deal or IMCA, I guess it'd just be the interest of the drivers and the experience of dealing with those sanctioning bodies. There's a possibility, down in 2014 if we do a weekly show.
Talking with Derek Anderson, the promoter for Butler County Speedway, and talking about the 2013 season.
What have you all done to the track there? I mean, every time we've been there, it's always been fun. It seems like it brings so many people out of the woodworks. It's not really a tough location to get to, but it really kind of is when you're coming from a city like I am. Have you done anything different to the track? I mean, every time I think of the track, I get a lot of people telling me the place with the orange walls. Have you changed the color of the walls at all? Or are they still
They got painted white by the very last person, but you still see the orange through there, so it's kind of a pretty sunset right now. But I can guarantee you that the walls will be white. The drop of the green flag starts flying.
The one thing I can, as a driver, I raced Butler County quite a few times back with the previous owner when he owned it. And Andrew, I don't know how you would describe racing Butler County, but it's almost like being on a roller coaster. It is a fun, high-banked, fast track, I think. When you come off turn 4, you're pointing downhill. It's almost like the straightaway twist, and then you go uphill into turn 1. You go through the apex, and then when you come off turn 2, it's like the straightaway actually twist, and it's almost like you're on a roller coaster all the way around, but it's a lot of fun, and it's a fast track.
It's really fast, short track there. I don't know. I wouldn't call it a roller coaster by no means. I don't want to scare no drivers off. I didn't think it was that crazy, but it is really fast, fun to watch racetrack. I used to go there all the time back when Dad used to race Stava's car there a lot, and it was really fun to watch, and I think that was back when Travis Dickus used to race there when they had late models back then, and he's a no-name around here in the SLMR, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun being the first SLMR race of the year there. I think it's going to be really cool, and I think you guys will pack the crowd, and it'll be real good for you guys.
Yeah, we're hoping we're jumping into a new thing, and hopefully we can get things going and rolling in the right direction.
Derek, I apologize if I missed it in one of your previous answers, but what's the formal length around the track there?
That's probably a good question. You can run almost 2 different gears of what I've been told there. That if you stay down low and there's so much room and wide, it's a wide track, you can run a different groove up high. Was it a 3rd mile or a 3/8 mile? You got me pretty much stumped on that.
Being in the B mods, one thing I can tell drivers, and I've been asked this, what kind of gear do you run out there? I've seen the likes of Denny Bergon. He's gone out there and won with a 514. I've seen guys win races with a 514, a 529, a 543, and even a 567. I've also been told by the previous owner you're looking at it's a really small quarter mile. Tell me if I get my sizes mixed up here, but it's a quarter mile on the inside and a high banked 3rd mile on the outside. And I mean, you can literally go 3 and 4 wide in the corners. I wouldn't recommend trying to go 4 wide, but you can safely go 3 wide in the corners. But I know in the B mods itself, I do know of 4 gear ratios themselves that I've won out there, if that kind of gives you an idea.
I got a little fun story to tell you about it before we're all done here.
Let's have it.
I was out there driving Stava's car one night, and Stava told me before the race started, he says, "Now, Joe, don't you let this motor get claimed. I've got $3,000 in this motor, and if it gets claimed," he says, "we'll be all done for the year." And I go out there and I win the race, and some guy pulls up in a Ford behind me, and he says, pulls up at the checkered flag into the claim area and says, "I want to claim your motor." Well, at the time, you either took $500 or exchange, and he thought beans he had a Ford and you had to race it the next week that I wouldn't take the Ford from him. And I says, "Okay, I'll take the swap." And he looked back at the flagman and he says, "Do I got to take the swap on this?" He says, "I don't want to take the claim then." I went in and told Stava what happened, and Stava says, "Joe, if you would have ever lost that motor, I would have not have been able to race again for the rest of the year."
Derek, again, we're talking with Derek Anderson, promoter for Butler County Speedway. Any other changes you want to bring up, Derek, for the 2013 season?
No, just it's going to be a different venue with the way things are probably going to run with doing some more pre-teching and less post-teching and try to make things fan-friendly and help get a lot of input from drivers and make it as run as well and smooth as possible.
Is the schedule we see on the screen, is that pretty well set in stone? Or I seen on one of the blogs that you had some dates there that you might question. A lot of the fans have asked, would you consider changing a date or two? Or is it set in stone now so we can let the radio listeners let them know that it is set in stone or that you are still considering?
We're still we put that out there to see if we got any more people really grumbling about it. But what we got now is pretty set in stone. We did move the May dates into up a week in April to 18th and 19th of May. April dates and June dates, and I think we're pretty close. Unless somebody really says, hey, this isn't going to work at all due to this, and this.
You've got the May dates at the 17th and 18th now. You say?
Yep.
Backed them up a week from the Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
What's the other day? What's the other dates? You want to go ahead and give them to the listeners?
They will be June 23rd and 24th, June, and then July 20th and 21st.
The June ones, you're off by a date. June 22nd and 23rd, the Saturday and Sunday races.
Yep, that's right. 22nd, 23rd.
And then July 20th and 21st.
Information in front of me, so I wouldn't mess this all up.
Well, as we're talking about this, listeners can go to your Facebook page. It's Butler County Speedway, and check out the pictures you guys posted. There's one of them I'm admiring. Looks like it's a picture into turn one, and you got cars, they're lined up for the parade lap, and they're 5 wide. So these guys aren't kidding when they're talking about there's plenty of room to race at that track.
Yeah, hopefully we can, have a lot of excitement and a lot of racing and clean racing. That's what we'd like to have.
Well, again, we're talking with Derek Anderson, promoter for Butler County Speedway. Derek, your season kicks off April 27th. That's a Saturday night, and April 28th with an SLMR series. Best of luck to you in 2013, and best of luck to you in 2013.
Yes, thank you very much. We appreciate the opportunity to meet and talk with you guys.
We'll be right back here on the Front Stretch, presented by Kosiski Auto Parts on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he is talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at R02-342-3453. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
The Silver Dollar Nationals are returning to I-80 Speedway on July 18th, 19th, and 20th. Don't miss the nation's top USMTS, MLRA, and Lucas Oil dirt late model racers as they compete at Nebraska's fastest track. Come watch the nation's best dirt track racers compete for a $27,000 to win payout. Ticket prices and packages at 402-342-3453. The third annual Silver Dollar Nationals at I-80 Speedway, July 18th, 19th, and 20th.
You're listening to The Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio. Brought to you by Kosiski Auto Parts and Team PRP. Premium recycled parts at an affordable price.
Welcome back to the Front Stretch, presented by Kosiski Auto Parts, 51st and I Street in Omaha. I know you guys have probably been busy with now the cars are starting to roll in. I was there a couple days ago and saw you guys getting a big shipment of cars that I think I saw one of them sitting on the shoulder after the snowstorm a couple of weeks ago. So you guys got a fresh shipment of trucks in. Do you have a rough idea of how many vehicles you have on the lot?
Approximately 900.
I said something to Lee Ackerman, who's been helping me with the show, and I said, "Guy, you guys got a fresh shipment?" And he goes, "Dan, we get about 20 of those in a day."
Yeah, we actually do about 20 to 25 cars a week.
Yeah.
We do about 90 cars a month. About what we try to bring to our place.
51st and I Street, 731-4592. 731-4592 is the phone number to call, and you can get a hold of a Team PRP representative to help you get your car or truck back on the road in full working condition. We're going to talk right now with, and I apologize, Rick, I haven't even gotten your last name.
Holland.
Rick Holland, the competition director for the SLMR series. Last week we sat down at Big Fred's and you guys worked out all the details as far as the rules packages. Have you guys got that stuff finalized?
We're real close. We'll probably finalize it all up this week and then hopefully have everything out by the banquet time. So.
Okay. Where can people go to get that information in case they need to get it?
I-80 Speedway's website will have a link to SLMR and their track also.
Okay, so i-80speedway.com. How long has the SLMR series been around?
5 years, and we've only had one repeat winner so far, and that was Travis Dickey's. Otherwise, we've had 4 previous winners to that point.
Who was the inaugural winner?
Al Humphrey was our inaugural winner.
Okay. Joe, did you ever win one?
No, never won one of the.
Have you raced?
I've raced the SLMR series. I raced the first 3 years, and consistently I raced the first 3 years in the SLMR series and never won a championship. I ran second a couple different times, but never won the championship.
Well, apparently you weren't rigging it right.
First year,
I can just see the fires I started.
He should have bought another racetrack.
And there goes the internet boards lighting up.
The first year of that
sponsorship of Kosiski Auto Parts. Sorry.
The first year of the SLMR series was actually a true championship legend deal because Joe Kosiski and Al Humphrey fought down to the last race on our very first inaugural season. It was
Al just paid better. Don't worry, it's just your boss sitting there next to you, Rick.
We're not going to get you in too much trouble, Rick.
He's just another racer at that point.
Look, you can actually see it in his eyes. He's thinking, why in the hell did I agree to come on this show?
Rick looks over at Joe. If you guys could see him behind the counter, he's looking over at Joe like, how do I respond to that?
He was talking to us last week. He said, I'd like to come in and see how you guys do this show. And now he's thinking, what was I thinking?
I said, see.
Don't want to be involved
in it. He didn't know that we was going to put him on the spot when he got in the room.
The SLMR series, give me the dates. When's the first race and where?
I believe it's April 18th at Butler County Speedway, I believe is the first race.
So that's the kickoff?
April 28th, I believe it
April
is.
28th.
April 28th at Butler County Speedway. That is the first race.
Sorry, it ain't sitting here in front of me. So
that'll be how far away is that track?
92 miles to the west of Omaha.
Did you just pull that out of your tush or you?
No, I raced Butler County.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who are some of the other tracks we talked about after Butler County? Do you know who, can you think off the top of your head who's next?
I can tell you the next race will go to I-80 Speedway for the Charlie Clark Memorial, and that's going to be one of the greatest nights. Anybody that loves modified racing, you're going to see some action that night.
Absolutely.
That race pays $2,000 to win 2 times, $2,022, 2 feature races in a 44-lap race with a 5-minute pit stop. I think it's 5 minutes and 22 seconds or something pit stop in the middle of it. And the SLMR, that's going to be its biggest paying race of the year. It'll be $2,022 that night to win also. It's going to have a little bit more entry fee that night, but I think the guys will be happy for what we're going to charge difference, but it'll be $2,022 to win. Biggest paying SLMRs of the year.
And that will be May
26th, I believe, is a Sunday night. It's the Sunday night before Memorial Day.
Okay. Maybe we'll have to do some sort of a live show that day.
Hey, that would be great.
We can work out something like that to where I know Bud loves doing them live shows. He keeps telling me, he says, man, we got to do more of them live shows.
They're pretty fun to do, aren't they, Bud?
He likes getting up at 5.
The thing is,
I like
good
them.
about that, that's the week before I think it's only like 1 week later we do that World Outlaw show you want to do live also, Dan.
Yeah.
So there's 2
2
of them
shows
in a row, 2 Sundays.
Oh, Bud's just getting all sorts of excited.
There is a week in between. June 1st is between.
We'll do them live. We'll do 3 in a row live.
Have you ever noticed what time I wake up in the morning?
You ever notice what time you wake up in the afternoon?
Close enough.
Joe, can you explain a concept we do with the payout in the SLMR series?
SLMR series, isn't that goofy? It come up a couple of years ago, and we started paying $1,000 to win and $10.50 for second, $1,050 for second. Everybody looks at you and goes, "Why would anybody pay more money for second than first?" And
First place gets the trophy.
No, it's because it's an advertising theme. Stop and think about it. Who would ever not talk about that?
I did last week, and I thought about it, and damn it, I got a headache.
Yeah, because you kept trying to think about it, didn't you? And you kept telling people, what the heck's wrong with these
and I'm
guys?
sitting here wondering,
is this really true when I read it on the internet?
Have you seen somebody throw the race to get that extra $50?
I've never seen a guy throw the race, and I actually talked to a couple of them, and most of them said, till it gets over $200, I probably will never throw a race. And I mean, that's from a couple guys that's won a few of them.
Yeah.
And this year in 2013, it's going to pay $1,000 to win and $1,100 for second. So the purse has went up a little bit. We got some more stuff to talk to the guys about as it goes on, and you can talk to Rick about. But yes, the purses went up a little bit this year.
Rick, with you being in the studio, being the competition director for the SLMR, what are some of the biggest changes that you guys have made from the rules from 2012 going into 2013?
We're planning on making very few changes. few procedure rules and stuff, fine-tuning a few rules, like a restrictor plate here and there, and nothing major.
Can Andrew run without one so he has a chance?
Andrew doesn't even have one in right now.
Good Lord, son.
He runs the engine. There is engines you don't have to run a restrictor plate.
Oh, that I didn't know. I thought they were all on
that's why
restrictors.
Andrew runs them. He runs the steel-headed steel block package that does not have to run a restrictor plate compared to the guys that run the big 430 all aluminums. They have to run a restrictor plate, and everything in between's got a different adjustment.
Yeah, have basically a motor option and weight rule and restrictor for about every motor option you can come up with. So
it's honestly the best series out there, and I don't know what exactly he was going to say, but I went through, we were talking together. It's like you talk about any series in the Midwest, the SLMR now has the most races. For the payout for only driving, if you live in the Omaha area, the farthest drive is 2 hours, not even 2 hours.
Well, you got the one race in Lexington.
That's
kind
about
of
3
far.
hours.
That's about 3 hours. But other than that, it's a little over 2 hours to about any place you go from Omaha.
So 150 miles anywhere from Omaha, and that's like where I live. And there is a lot of people that race out in western Nebraska, so they get a lot of fun out of this. I really think this year we're going to see 30 SLMR cars at each race. I really think it's going to be good racing. It's going to be clean. Anybody can run, too. That's the best part. If you're a Grand National guy and you don't feel you're good enough to run MLRA, the SLMR is just as good a series, and you can run in it because you can afford it. It's a good payout, and your car is legal.
Basically, the rules that Rick's come up with for this and the engine rules is any engine you've got sitting in your garage, you can make it work and be competitive. It's not like what Billy Moyer talks about, and a few of the guys when we get to talk to them, they're going to be telling you. I mean, I've heard it when I've been back at different shows and things. They're going to tell you about big engines and how expensive they're getting, and you can't afford to race them. This series keeps the guy with whatever motor. Bud, you could bring your motor out and race with these guys.
The SLMR series kicks off April 28th at Butler County. 13 tracks, 19 events. Check them out. i-80speedway.com is where you can go to get the link. Like you said earlier, Rick, the full rules package will be posted probably in the next week or two. Joe, are you guys going to be building a site for the SLMR series so that people can go there and get the information?
Yeah, we're in the process of getting it done now. I'm hoping by the banquet time I can give everybody where it's going to be, how it's going to, the look of it. They won't have it done by then. They've already told me it'll be sometime in March before we can have it totally finished. But we are going with a full website for the SLMR series.
If you need a website company, we've got a good one that we can recommend for you.
Oh, man, I know.
Thank you so much for sitting down with us. Sammy Swindell is just around the corner as a part of the Legends of the Dirt series. This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio.
Kosiski Auto Parts is the Metro's premier auto parts store. Located at 50th and I Street, Kosiski Auto Parts will help you find the replacement part you need to get back on the road. Give one of their experienced salespeople a call today at 731-4592. Let Kosiski Auto Parts and Team PRP find your quality used replacement part. Kosiski Auto Parts offers warranties on all parts that leave their store, so you have peace of mind. Open Monday to Friday, 8 to 5:30, or 24 hours a day at Kosiski.com.
The Silver Dollar Nationals are returning to I-80 Speedway on July 18th, 19th, and 20th. Don't miss the nation's top USMTS, MLRA, and Lucas Oil dirt late model racers as they compete at Nebraska's fastest track. Come watch the nation's best dirt track racers compete for a $27,000 to win payout. Ticket prices and packages at 402-342-3453. The third annual Silver Dollar Nationals at I-80 Speedway, July 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.
This is the Front Stretch on AM 590, powered by Kosiski Auto Parts. Quality used parts at an affordable price. Now, back to the Front Stretch.
Welcome back to the Front Stretch, presented by Kosiski Auto Parts. 51st and I Street, 731-4592 is where you can call to get quality used parts at an affordable price. Kosiski Auto Parts will help you get that fixed fender, maybe the fixed rim. They'll even replace your battery and give you a full lifetime warranty. Some of us have been slipping and sliding all over the roads the last couple of days as the ice has still not melted from our last snowstorm. So if you've been in one of those fender benders, get to Kosiski Auto Parts and save save yourself a few pennies. In fact, save yourself more than a few pennies. You're going to save a lot of money than going through a regular auto parts dealer, and it's going to be the exact same parts. 51st and I Street, Kosiski Auto Parts. The Legends of the Dirt Series continue tonight. We're talking with Sammy Swindell. Sammy, thank you so much for sitting down with us. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Well, we're doing pretty good. I'm joined in studio, as always, by my co-hosts, Joe Kosiski and Andrew Kosiski. Sammy, let's waste no time. Let's get right into it. I know you got exposed to racing because of your dad, who was a legendary driver in his own, but talk about how you got started and your very first race.
Well, I was just raised around the racing because my dad was racing, from the time I was born. So I got in a car there, right before I was 16, and his older car, he built a new one and gave me the old one to drive. So we just started from there and wound up winning the third night out and won the most races that year, and only started in July. So took off pretty well.
I think it said you won 11 races that year?
Yeah, that's probably about right. That's been a long time ago, and I'm not sure, but I know we won quite a few.
Oh, it wasn't that long ago, was it?
It was over 40 years ago.
That's not long at all. That's nothing.
Okay.
You got more racing left to go, right?
Right.
Talk about your racing early. I know your brothers raced and your dad. What was it like racing with all of them? Did you race with them at the same time, or were they in a different series at the time you were racing?
No, we all kind of ran together. My dad wound up retiring, probably about 2 years after I started. So, we did run some together. I'm not sure if my brother was there, but he's actually out here tonight helping me work on this midget.
You got the midget that you're set up for the Chili Bowl, correct?
Yeah, that's what we're doing, getting ready for the Chili Bowl.
Hey, when you go down to the Chili Bowl, what do you think? Was it more fun racing with your dad or more fun racing with your son?
Well, it's kind of the same. It's different, but it's kind of the same.
We're pretty big fans of the Chili Bowl here. Is that one of your favorite races to go to? Is that something you prep up for? You and Kevin just completely dominate that every single year. What's it, 4 years now? Swindell's been in Victory Lane, and is that like one of your big races, or what's like a highlight race for you? What's your favorite race to go to?
Well, it's the only time I run a midget. So, to do what we've done the last 4 years and what I've done over there, since we've had that, it's pretty remarkable. And we usually have a pretty good time. It's just like anything else. It's a lot of work, and you got to really be on your game. But it's been a lot of fun.
You've won the World of Outlaws Championship 3 years, 81, 82, and 97. I know you've been competitive a lot of years in that. Talk about your experience in the World of Outlaws and being with that series as it's grown to what it is today.
Yeah, well, I haven't run the full schedule all that many times, but, we've done pretty well every time that I have. It's a tough series. It's a lot of traveling and going to a lot of places. It's a big job just to get through a year there.
I see this year that you're a part of the Big Game Tree Stand. Is if I'm making the connection here correctly, Craig Delansky, is he your teammate?
Yeah. We both drive for the same owner. His stuff, he keeps it up near his house, and my stuff's down here by my house. So, but yeah, we kind of run together and down the road. So, we wound up second and third this year in the championship, and it was real close. So, I think we definitely helped each other.
How much cooperation between the two is there? Is it just the simple fact that you guys are on the same team, or do you guys share information between the two?
A little bit. But the cars are different, the motors are different, and, his driving style and mine, I think, are a little bit different, so we can't really compare everything. But just some of the basic stuff, about what we do, or, what tires or what kind of sort of setups we run, it definitely helps that way.
Back in the 90s, I know you came up to I-80 Speedway and ran with the World Outlaws. Are you going to try to run most of the series this year, or will you be back up in the Omaha area racing at I-80 Speedway in June this year with the World Outlaws?
Well, we're planning on trying to run all the races this year if we can.
I'd love to see you try to race for that championship. You're one of my heroes, watching you time and time again, and then watching you in the midgets down at the Chili Bowl. It's fun, and I've known your engine builder Parker up there. I've known him for a couple years and got to meet him, coming back and forth with some of the ASCS shows that we have out here at I-80 Speedway, and he, real nice guy and respects a lot of what you do for him. So I hope you understand all that too.
Yeah, he definitely works really hard for us, and he hasn't done these 410s that much, or definitely not lately. So he's done a real good job there to accomplish what we have in this short period of time.
How much are you devoting right now? This is a lot of a father-son sport, and I know your son Kevin's involved in it and is having a lot of success. How much are you kind of peeling back a little bit, how much you're doing full-time and helping him with his career, or are you still focused a lot on your career?
Well, I mean, that's what I did back a few years ago, and now he's kind of been involved with the stock cars and stuff, so I can't really help him a lot there. It's gave me an opportunity to go back and run more races and, and just look after my career a little more than what I did for quite a few years, trying to help him get his going. We did a lot of things with the carts and bringing him up, through the different series. And, now he's lives in North Carolina, so he's going to run some nationwide races this year. So, it gives me some more time just to concentrate on my career again.
Well, who's he running nationwide for this year?
Fred Biaggi.
Okay, good for him. Do you know how many is he running?
I'm going to run somewhere between 10 and 20. I mean, they're going to do at least 10, and they'd like to do 20 and hopefully run the full schedule the next year. So it just depends on how they can put it. Was just a part-time team last year, and but they were wanting to do some more, and Kevin got involved the last few races and had some good runs. So they're pretty excited about trying to work some things in for him this year.
Is he coming back to race at the Chili Bowl this year?
Yeah, he actually was here this morning, left. He's running the shootout this weekend there.
Joining us this morning on the phone as a part of the Legends of the Dirt series, one of the legendary World of Outlaw drivers and dirt drivers nationally and locally, it's Sammy Swindell. Sammy, thanks again so much for joining us this morning. Let's talk about your career as you moved up into the asphalt. You ran what was the Busch Series and the Craftsman Truck Series. Talk about that a little bit and your experience up there in the NASCAR circuit.
Well, I mean, back in the 80s, I guess the middle 80s or something, I got involved there and was able to run a few races. I mean, we were supposed to run some more, but just didn't work out that way. We wound up running more with the sprint car than we did the Busch car, they called them back then. But we had some okay runs. It was, part of the time it was just me and my couple guys that worked on the sprint car. We'd get the car and take it to the track, so it made it kind of tough for us. But it was a good experience. And I mean, I would like to got to do some more, but it just didn't work out. I got involved with the truck series, and just the team wasn't really prepared, I guess. I mean, we just didn't have the stuff we needed sometimes, and had a lot of just little things happen to us, so we didn't finish races. I mean, we came close. I mean, we got some different people on board there the last part of the year, and it seemed to make quite a bit of difference. I mean, the first race we did, we almost won at Bristol, and but there was quite a few of them where we just had some engine problems and didn't finish. But that was a lot of fun running the trucks. It's just I'd like to continue with that, but there again, we just didn't have a sponsor behind me to do that.
The Truck Series announced this year they're going to come to Eldora and do one race, doing a bit of an off race on the dirt. Would that be something you'd be interested in hopping in and doing it one more time, or are you pretty happy in your sprint cars?
Well, I wouldn't mind doing that. Probably if we run this full schedule, they probably won't let me do that. But I'd like to give it a try. I mean, Kevin ran the Arca car there and had a good run when he ran on dirt at Springfield. But I know they can run those trucks. If they can run those cars, I know they can run the trucks on dirt. Eldora will be a little bit different.
Out of all the things you've raced, what's probably your favorite kind of car you ran? I mean, out of anything.
I don't know. Probably the sprint cars on the faster tracks would be one of my favorite ones. I mean, I did some tests, and we ran a day there at what used to be Road Atlanta. Back Ford had that GTP, that probe they had. I got to run that there at the old track, and that was a blast. I would have liked to have run it. They called me down there, and they thought Jeff Brabham was going to be sick and couldn't do it, and so they asked me to come down, and I think Bobby Rahal was in the other car, and we ran some good laps and had a lot of fun there for a day, but he was able to get back in for the race, so I didn't get to do any more than that, but that was probably the closest thing to a sprint car I ever drove on a road course. That was quite a bit of fun, that car was.
Is that a full-bodied car or an Indy-style car then?
Well, it's a full-bodied car. It's like cars they run at that Rolex 24 hours.
Yep, okay.
But it would have been back in the the middle 80s, so they were a bit different somewhat then, but I mean, it was a little four-cylinder that was turbocharged, and it made a lot of power, and it had big tires and big brakes and a lot of downforce, so you could really hustle it around that track.
Have you ever run an Indy-style car?
What was that?
Have you ever ran an Indy-style car?
Yeah, I've run, I think I ran 3 races, Michigan and Pocono. But, there again, I just didn't get to stay in it very long. I was at Pocono twice, but my first race at Michigan, after the first stop, the right front tire came off, but I was able to drive it back to the pits, which they thought was kind of a miracle. But, and then I drove one for Foyt there I was up there at Pocono, and he said, asked me to come drive his car. So I went out there, and he said, when you get to 200, we'll pull you in. Well, my third lap was 200. They put me in the qualifying line. I made a qualifying lap, qualified like 10th. Started the race. We ran it all on 2 sets of tires, which they didn't even have the second set mounted up, but we were able to make it through and still finish ninth there. So the Indy cars would have been fun, but there again, just didn't really get the chance because we didn't have the sponsor.
How different is an Indy car versus a NASCAR stock car versus a sprint car? Are there similarities between the three of them or anything like that?
Well, there's definitely similarities. Some of the stuff and things you do are kind of the same, but they definitely drive different. They run different, handle different. So, it's a whole different feel for driving one, even sitting in one. It's different, all three of them. But, you get out, you kind of do the same thing. If it's pushing, it's pushing. And if it's loose, it's going to be loose. So you just adjust to it.
What is the adjustment period for something like that? When you hopped into the Indy car, were you able to get a couple of laps underneath you and then feel confident in the car, or did it take a little bit longer to get that confidence?
Well, with Foyt's car, I got 2 laps and qualified. So, it was like going from, he said, just the first lap I went around there just warming it up, and I took off, and the next one they were telling me to come in. So I said, what was wrong? And they said, well, you're already over 200. So, it wasn't really difficult to do. The same, we went to Michigan, and they were testing there. They had an Italian guy, and he never been on an oval like that, so he didn't really like it. So I got there and ran faster than the driver, their main driver, so they asked me to come back for the race.
What was it like racing for A.J. Foyt? How much did you get to work with him and talk with him?
Oh, I talked with him a bunch of times, because he came from the dirt. He was always interested in the dirt. Some of the stuff, and his grandson was running the karts, and Kevin was running karts. We had one of our motor builders were the same, and we went to some of the same tracks, and I knew his guys that worked on his cars. So it was, he's definitely a character.
Here locally, you're a little bit of a record holder. I'm not sure if you're aware of it. We've got a racetrack, Eagle Raceway, that sits just off of I-80 out by Lincoln, Nebraska. And you hold the record for the fastest lap turn there at 11.076. And I believe you've ran there a couple of times. Do you remember that track at all?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we had the record a long time ago, but then we weren't there for quite a while, so it was nice to come back and get it again.
I got to tell you, 11-second lap, that's hauling the mail.
Yeah. These sprint cars now, they're like a little rocket. Things happen really fast, so it's like when you get in the stock car or some of the other things, everything really slows down because I'm used to running at a real fast pace.
Talking with Sammy Swindell as a part of the Legends of the Dirt series here on the Front Stretch on AM 590, Omaha's ESPN Radio. Sammy, at Eagle Raceway this year, they decided to get rid of the 360 Sprint Class Series because of low driver turnout and go to the 305 Race Saver engines as a way to maybe get some more drivers interested in the sport because of the lower cost. Have you ever raced the 305?
No, I've never ran a 305. I have run some 360s. Coming from the 410s to do that, you can definitely tell the difference, how much slower it is. I'm sure the 305 would be even more. So for me, it's quite a bit easier, or just everything seems so slow, even in the 360. So I could imagine at the 305 how much slower that would be. So, it's the class for people to start. I think that people have a hard time. Some guys just jumping right in the 410, things happen pretty quick.
Have you ever raced dirt late model like with Scott Bloomquist and them? Scott's going to be on our show a couple weeks after you are. He's already done his interview. But have you ever raced in the late model division like that? You've raced a lot of cars. I'm sitting here kind of comparing you to the Tony Stewart and the Untsers and a few of them guys with all the different kinds of cars you've raced. I have only heard no late models or no Silver Crown, and I believe I remember you racing a Silver Crown a few years back.
Yeah, I've run that. I've run late models. When I first started here, we ran all three divisions, and there was quite a few times where I won all three of them. And we did run quite a few races for a couple of years in the late model when I was still running right around here. And I ran some of the old NDRA races, back in the day too. I haven't run these cars like they have now, but something that was a variation from that back in the 70s and 80s.
What does We'll get you wrapped up here in just a few minutes. So let's talk about 2013. What's it look like for you? And we've talked about it a little bit. You're possibly going to try to run the full World of Outlaw series. Any extra races you're going to try to throw in there this year?
Well, I don't know. If you run that whole series, it doesn't leave a lot of time to do anything else. So, we were able to run the short track nationals there at the end of the year when we had open weekend. And other than that, I don't know. I don't really. It just doesn't give you time to do much anything else if you're running this series.
Now, can we? We're going to be down at the Chili Bowl this year. Are we going to predict you or Kevin going to win this one this year? You're going to beat him finally? What's he won? 3 in a row now, or 2 in a row? Kevin's beat you.
He's won 3 in a row. So I think we had a strong enough car, last year. Just the draw put him in front, and he did a good job. I mean, I got caught up in some stuff there, right there at the end, and I think we could have made it close again like the year before. So the year before that, I had to start in the back 2 or 3 times. So it's just the circumstances that have to work out. I mean, we've definitely got good race cars, and I think we'll be a threat. But there's a lot to get through. When they have over 200 cars there.
Well, when I go into the Chili Bowl, even with Tony Stewart there, I know who I'm picking, and I'm going with the old guy because I'm an old guy, guys, and I'm going with Sammy. And I will be there watching that race to see him do it.
Remember, Joe, rule on this show is they're not old, they're wise.
That's right. They're wiser, which they're usually older when they get wiser.
Sammy, we really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to sit down and talk with us, and it's been a pleasure talking with such a legend as you, and we hope you have a great 2013. We would love to see you down at I-80 for the World of Outlaws. Joe, when's that show again? June
9th. Sunday night, June 9th.
It's a big track. What's the full length on that track, eh?
It's a half mile around the outside ridge, right around the guardrail, and it's a little over 3/8 down on the bottom guardrail. So it's not one or the other, and some of the guys will hug that bottom, and some of them will wing it right up there against the top. I love it when the 410s come to that place.
It'd be great to see you down there, Sammy. We'd love to come down and talk to you for a few minutes if you're in the pits. And again, we appreciate you sitting down with us, and have a great night.
Okay, thank you.
Sammy Swindell joining us as a part of the Legends of the Dirt series here on the Front Stretch, presented by Kosiski Auto Parts. Thank you so much to Sammy and all of our legends who have joined us so far. Next weekend, probably one of the interviews I've been the most excited about, Scott Bloomquist will sit down with us, and I tell you what, we did the interview a couple of weeks ago before the holiday season got kicked off, and I tell you what, he was fired up and had a lot to say, so you're not going to want to miss this interview. Scott Bloomquist next weekend on the show as a part of the Legends of the Dirt series on the Front Stretch. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join us. We greatly appreciate it. We hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday. For Joe, for Andrew, and for Bud, I'm Dan Taylor. This has been the Front Stretch. We'll see you at the track.
The Silver Dollar Nationals are returning to I-80 Speedway on July 18th, 19th, and 20th. Don't miss the nation's top USMTS, MLRA, and Lucas Oil dirt late model racers as they compete at Nebraska's fastest track. Come watch the nation's best dirt track racers compete for a $27,000 to win payout. Ticket prices and packages at 402-342-3453. The 3rd annual Silver Dollar Nationals at I-80 Speedway, July 18th, 19th, and 20th.
We have all been there before. Broken car part in your hand and some snot-nosed punk behind the counter has no idea what he is talking about, but he guarantees that this part will fix your car. You pay an arm and a leg for the replacement, get it home, and sure enough, it doesn't fit your car. Now, learn from your mistake and give an experienced salesperson at Kosiski Auto Parts a call today at R02-342-3453. Kosiski Auto Parts will get you back on the road with your arms and legs still attached.
Are you ready for fast-paced, adrenaline-pumping, wheel-to-wheel racing right here in the Metro? Get to Joe's Karting in Council Bluffs and see what it's like to race real go-karts. Joe's Karting knows it's no fun to race go-karts at 10 miles per hour, so they ripped the governors out, and now the only restriction is how good you are at racing. It's full-throttle, white-knuckle racing every day of the week. Head over to joeskarting.com for hours, prices, and specials, or give Buddy a call today and set up your group races at 712-256-5278.